Okay, sir, I got us up live on YouTube. I'll have to get the other ones up on another way.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication with print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166, or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Have you ever searched your shelf full of greeting cards and still couldn't find the one that echoed how you felt? Well, search no more and call Designs by Page. We offer birthday cards. Our cards are one-of-a-kind keepsake items that your recipient will want to place on their mantle with all of their other beautiful and treasured items. We also offer holiday cards. With Designs by Page, no holidays will go unnoticed. Our unique greeting cards are sure to celebrate all holidays. We also have cards for special occasions. We are the one-stop shop for unique and three-dimensional handmade greeting cards for all occasions. Specializing, we also take custom orders. Every card is crafted with care and made with love. So call Designs by Beach today at 601-451-9536 or visit our website www.designsbybeach.com.
Attention, brothers and sisters, viewers and listeners, coming soon. Your call 1-601-786-9788. That's 1-601-786-9788. Pick up your copy of the Son of Man Speaks magazine today. With the Son of Man Speaks magazine, you will receive automotive tips, wholesome recipes, financial advice, and most importantly, a true understanding of the Word of God. Get your copy of The Son of Man Speaks from these select locations: Sisters Brave Turner, 18070 Mount Elliott, the Shell Gas Station, 13110 West.
Leave a note up there.
To get a subscription,
Do not
call
touch.
601-786-9780. That's 601.
Y'all put a note up there. Do not touch.
The Son of Man Speaks magazine, dedicated to becoming free indeed.
Come check out the new Sisters Braid 2 Hair Braiding and Natural Hair Care Salon, located at 18070 Mount Elliott Street. Our new salon is spacious with adequate parking, Wi-Fi, and all brand new state-of-the-art salon equipment. Come meet your local hair braiders and natural hair care specialists, and check out our many pair of hair services, such as hair treatments, box braids, corn rolls, true braids, Havana twists, children's braids, natural twists, lock extensions, kinky twists, goddess locks, updos, full weaves, and more. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.sistersbraid2.com or call 313-826-0498. Here at Sisters Braid 2, we offer exceptional care for exceptional hair. We look forward to seeing you. Sisters Braid 2 is a proud recipient of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work to rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding. And for more information, 313-866-0000. the local number. Again, 313-868-0003. Support the unity and rebuilding.
To make your online tithes, offerings, donations, gifts to the Son through Cash App, make your payment to $New Nation of Islam. That's $New Nation of Islam. Or call 601-786-7056. 601-786-7056. Attention, brothers and sisters, viewers and listeners, coming soon. Your Son of Man Speaks Magazine digital subscription. Your digital subscription to the Son of Man Speaks Magazine will also include our monthly delivered to your inbox. If you have any questions regarding digital magazine subscription or digital newsletter, you may send it. Attention, brothers and sisters, viewers and listeners, coming soon. Your Son.
Just a moment. Get it right in a minute.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication with print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166, or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Have you ever searched through a shelf full of greeting cards and still couldn't find the one that echoed how you felt? Well, search no more and call Designs by Deej. We offer birthday cards. Our cards are one-of-a-kind keepsake items that your recipient will want to place on their mantle with all of their other beautiful and treasured items. We also offer holiday cards. With Designs by Deej, no holiday will go unnoticed. Our unique greeting cards are sure to celebrate all holidays. We also have cards for special occasions. We are your one-stop shop for unique and three-dimensional, handmade greeting cards for all occasions. Specializing, we also take custom orders. Every card is crafted with care and made with love. So call Designs by Deej today at 601-451-9536 or visit our website www.designsbydeej.com.
Attention, brothers and sisters, viewers and listeners, coming soon. Your Son of Man Speaks Magazine digital subscription. Your digital subscription to the Son of Man Speaks Magazine will also include our monthly newsletter, both delivered to your inbox. If you have any questions regarding digital magazine subscription or digital newsletter, you may send an email to shabazprinting@thenewnationofislam.com. That's shabazprinting@thenewnationofislam.com. Or call 1-601-786-9788. That's 1-601-786-9788. Pick up your copy of the Son of Man Speaks magazine today. With the Son of Man Speaks magazine, you will receive automotive tips, wholesome recipes, financial advice, and most importantly, a true understanding of the Word of God. Get your copy of the Son of Man Speaks from these select locations: Sisters Brand 2, 18070 Mount Elliott; The Shell Gas Station, 13110 West 7 Road. To get a subscription, call 601-786-9780. That's 601-786-9780. The Son of Man Speaks Network, dedicated to becoming free indeed.
Come check out the new Sisters Braid 2 Hair Braiding and Natural Hair Care Salon, located at 18070 Mount Elliott Street. Our new salon is spacious with adequate parking, Wi-Fi, and all brand new state-of-the-art salon equipment. Meet your local hair braiders and natural hair care specialists, and check out our many hair care services such as hair treatments, box braids, bone rolls, tree braids, cabana twists, children's braids, natural twists, lock extensions, kinky twists, goddess locks, updos, wool weaves, and more. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.sistersbraid2.com or call 313-826-0498. Here at Sisters Braid 2, we offer exceptional care for exceptional hair. We look forward to seeing you. Sisters Braid 2 is a proud recipient of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together to rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding. And for more information, 313-866-0000, the local number. Again, 313-866-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding.
To make your online tithes, offerings, donations, gifts to the Son of Man through Cash App, make your payment to $New Nation of Islam. That's $New Nation of Islam. Or call 601-786-7056. 601-786-7056.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading the Holy Scripture and not really understanding what you read? And if you're reasonably sure, have you ever tested that what you feel you know with someone that has a different view than your own? Then let's talk with one another. Then let's reason with one another on a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Wednesday at 9 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon. On WHPR TV Detroit Live, 88.1 FM WHPR, and Comcast Cable. Why don't you call and discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning? You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. That's 313-868-4336, 313-868-0342, or 313-868-0351. And now, let's go live with a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful, the truthful, and the most just. I greet you all who are hungry and thirsty for the true understanding of the Word of God, which is the Holy Scriptures, and truth in general. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's salam alaikum. Before I go into the 9th chapter of Jeffrey Berman's book called Holding the Line Inside the Nation's Preeminent U.S. Attorney's Office and Its Battle with the Trump Justice Department by Jeffrey Berman. He is a former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. But before I go into his book, I want to give those who may have some type of question or argument. You know, when I say argument, I mean like they do in court. It's the day of judgment, so this is the day for arguments. So arguments are facts that you have, you may have accumulated that may dispute anything that you hear me teaching. And for this is what we are after. We are after the truth. The only way to get at the truth is to leave the door of disagreement, especially the door of disagreement. You must leave that door unlocked and open at all times. So, if you've told the truth, then the truth, you don't defend the truth. The truth defends itself and it defends you. And so, you don't have anything to fear when the truth is not against you. So if there's no one with questions or arguments, then before we get into the spiritual lesson, we're going to go into the natural lesson, the natural knowledge, which is this book that Jeffrey Berman wrote. And the mere fact, understand something, according to what I gleaned out of Mr. Berman when he released this book, it was, what I understood him to say was that he had to clear the content of this book had to be cleared by the Justice Department before he released it. You see, and as I read some of this content, it gave me and it gives me hope, because there's a lot of truth in it that condemns quite a few people. And if the Justice Department was full of crooks, it would not have all of this condemnation of crooks in here. Do you understand? So that is a good thing. And I want to say to you brothers who say you are my followers and sisters, but mostly brothers, you don't hardly ever, the sisters don't hardly get in confrontations with anyone, you know. But sometimes brothers, ego will be overactive. And I want to tell you something. When you out on the street and a uniformed officer pulls you over, you put your ego in check. And you respect that man's uniform. You understand? When people that are employed by the state, whatever they doing to the streets or whatever, sidewalks or whatever, even if it's in front of your house, that's the city or state property there. And if they have to be on your driveway, you get out them people's way. If anything you can do to help them, you help them. Other than that, you just stay out of their way. Because you don't have any jurisdiction to be interrupting them in the labor that they have been instructed by the state. Do you understand? Okay. And if you're in doubt, you give me a call before you go out there clowning. So, I told you, we do unto others as we'd have others do unto us. If this was my country, if it was my government, I would not appreciate you giving government employees a hard time when they doing what in the line of their duty. And their duty is to obey those who sent them out there. Do you understand? It's just like me. I'm in here. I'm keeping my duty. My duty is to fear God and keep his commandments. One of his commandments is, as you would that men do to you, do ye also unto them. Huh? There ain't no sense in you coming in here telling me don't teach what I'm teaching. I'm in the performance of my duty, and if you know what's good for you, you will stay out of my face trying to tell me not to teach this. So all I ask is that the people, when if anybody who's supposed to be a follower of mine, they sometimes new people, they act and do something foolish because they are new, they don't know. And I'm saying this is where the police officers and government officials, you get a chance to show some mercy. And you just remember, it says, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Yeah. What you need to do is give me a holler. If somebody that's supposed to be following me clowning, give me a holler. I'll make sure that they never do that again. So all I have to do is tell them, hey, we don't do that. So now let's get into this 9th chapter here. The pardoned, Pardoned, the pardoned. You remember what Donald Trump gave a bunch of them fellas pardons? Okay. Much of what occurred during my tenure and what I regarded as great accomplishments of the office, I believe were marked as demerits by my superior. You know what a demerit is? As something that's wrong. You understand? Or in baseball, it's called errors. So he knew that he was at odds with many of his superiors, like William Barr and whatnot, because William Barr wasn't interested in law. William Barr was interested in good old boy, and if you my friend, ain't no law. If you my enemy, ain't no justice for you. Do you understand? Okay. And I just, I'm reading again. And I just kept racking up demerits. I wouldn't fall in line, not for various high-placed officials at DOJ who seemed to be taking orders from the White House, or possibly just cues from the president's Twitter account. Not for Whitaker. And not for Barr, who you'll recall compared junior members of the Department of Justice, meaning everyone junior to him, to Montessori preschoolers. In his mind, I suppose I was like one of those stubborn kids who would not behave correctly, no matter how many times he tried to corral me. When we indicted Chris Collins, a Republican congressman from the Buffalo area, in August of 2018, after I had been the U.S. attorney for about 7 months, that was in early demerit, preceding Barr, though he surely knew of it. It was one of the cases cited when we were later instructed to even things out and go after some Democrats. Remember, this was as the 2018 midterm election was approaching. Collins was one of the wealthiest members of Congress. The court would later value his assets at more than $13.8 million, including baseball card and coin collections worth more than $1 million each. His crime, insider trading, was brazen. He served on the board of directors of innate immunotherapeutics. Yeah. He served on the board of directors of innate immunotherapeutics, an Australian biotech company, and was one of its biggest shareholders. When he learned of a failed clinical trial of a drug in development by the company, he quickly alerted his son, who then dumped stock before the news became public. Collins got word of the failed trial as he was attending the annual congressional picnic at the White House. Now, what did he do? He dumped his stock when he knew that it was going to fail. That's like if you go to Las Vegas, for instance. You know, it's a gamble. You invest in money on the table, but now you know what the dice is loaded, or you know that the roulette wheel is loaded, and you know what it's going to land on, and then you start putting money on that, and they find you doing that, then you are breaking the rules of what the whole idea of it is. Do you understand? And so he was actually equivalent to a white collar shoplifter. Do you understand? So anyway, let's go back. Let's go back to this. Then it says, Collins got word of the failed trial as he was attending the annual congressional picnic at the White House. He made the call to his son from there. We had a video of him talking on his cell phone at that moment, committing his felony right on the White House lawn. Right? The drug trial was a high-stakes gamble known as MIS 416. I assume it would have gotten a catchier name if it made it to market. The drug was intended as a therapy for multiple sclerosis, but it failed. And, because the company had no other significant products in development, a failure of its trial would amount to a big setback or even a catastrophe for inmate. The company's CEO sent an email to his board members on June 22nd, 2017, and Collins looked at it on his phone while he was at the picnic. Quote, "I have bad news to report," it said, unquote. Quote, "The top line analysis would pretty clearly indicate clinical failure," end quote. The trial found no significant differences in outcomes between MIS 416 and a placebo. A placebo, just in case some of y'all don't know, placebo is like a sugar pill or something, just something to make you give somebody, and it ain't really medicine. It's just something you give them to make them think it's medicine or whatever. And that's the way they do clinical trials. That's one of the ways they do them. They give some people nothing in the form of a pill, and they call it a placebo. And then they give others the real deal, the medication. And then they see how each side was affected. And so when it says the trials found no significant differences in outcomes between MIS 416 and a placebo. The CEO did not attempt to sugarcoat the disappointing result. Quote, "No doubt we want to consider this extremely bad news," he wrote, unquote. Collins tapped out a response. Quote, "Wow, makes no sense. How are these results even possible?" This is what happens when you're not a scientist. The man told you the stuff didn't work, and now you talking about it just makes no sense. I mean, ain't good. Anyway, that's what happened. That's how people got to the point now that, see, when you send these kind of people, that's money grubbers. People think because somebody is wealthy that they must be real smart. You looking at the world around you with all these wealthy people. Donald Trump is a wealthy man. Is he smart? Many wealthy people that have degrees bought their degree. They didn't even go to school and get it. They just paid for it. Who you think coined the phrase, "It ain't what you know, it's who you know"? Where do you think that phrase came from? That came from wealthy people. That's why the scriptures call them. They say you say in your heart, "I have need of nothing," and you ain't got sense enough to see that you blind, naked, and poor in your mind. What kind of question is that when the man tell him that the placebo, the MIS 416 failed, and this is bad? He tell me, how could that be? What you mean, how could that be? It don't work. That's how it can be. But anyway, he then attempted to reach Cameron Collins, his adult son. Over the next 4 minutes, they traded 6 missed calls between them. When they finally connected, he told his son about the failed clinical trial. The congressman had been an evangelist for the company and its multiple sclerosis drug, and several other members of Congress also held stock in it. He owned millions of dollars of N8 stock, but he couldn't sell it. He was already under investigation for by the Office of Congressional Ethics in connection with his holdings and his promotion of the company. His son, however, also had substantial holdings in N8. Based on the alert from his father, Cameron Collins began unloading stock the next morning. He sold almost 1.4 million shares before N8 publicly released the negative results of the drug trial. The company's stock predictably tanked, losing more than 90% of its value. Cameron Collins, having received the heads up based on his father's inside information, avoided $570,900 in losses. Over $500,000 in losses. He avoided that. And it says, Cameron Collins also passed on the information to his fiance's father, Stephen Zarsky, who also sold his N8 stock before the test results became public. In all, the losses averted by Cameron Collins, Zarsky, and others who were passed along the news of the adverse results totaled $768,000. One of the tough calls I had to make early in my tenure concerned the timing of the Collins indictment. We had the case ready to be presented to the grand jury by early August, with the midterms still 3 months away. There had been no leaks in the media. The team presented the issue to me. Do we indict Collins before the election, which would have a significant negative impact on his chances for re-election, or wait to indict until right after the election? After all, an indictment contains only allegations, and Collins is entitled to a presumption of innocence. Indicting the case before the election would be perceived as an inappropriate political act on the part of our office. In making the decision to move forward, I relied on the unwritten DOJ 60-day rule that you don't indict a case that will materially affect an election within 60 days of that election, absent exigent circumstances, unless there are some outside circumstances that force you to do it. I thought that Collins' constituents deserved to know about our charges, and he had over 60 days to present his side of the story. On August 8, 2018, Collins, his son, and Zarsky were charged with securities fraud, as well as making false statements to federal agents when the FBI initially questioned them. Insider trading. Let me say this to you. I said it once, and it's important that we impress it on you again. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is set up not so much as to convict you, but to investigate whether you have did anything. You know, it's just like It's just like when you question people. If you've got a household and you start questioning your something went wrong in your household, then your parents, they call all of you together and ask you, did you do this or did you do that? Or have you seen this or seen that? They expect you to tell the truth. Do you understand? It's not a witch hunt. It is an elimination hunt. If you tell them the truth, if the truth is on your side, what is the problem? So if they catch you lying, then they charge you with making false statements to the Bureau of Investigation. That's main job is to be a watchdog to make sure insider trading is one of those bloodless terms that may not fully convey the seriousness of the crime. It amounts to gaming the system and cheating regular investors who are at a disadvantage because they do not have the same information as you. They're like dupes at a rigged card game. Huh? You see what I was talking about? Yeah. The fact that Collins was a congressman made it worse. He served on the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which oversees healthcare companies. Paul Ryan, then the House Speaker, removed him from the committee after the indictment. All three defendants initially pleaded not guilty. Chris Collins claimed the charges against him were meritless, quote unquote meritless. After first saying after the indictment that he would not seek re-election, he reversed course and re-entered the race. The team and I watched his news conference live from my office and learned his plans along with the rest of the general public. He ended up winning a fourth term in New York's 27th congressional district. It can be a little complicated to try a sitting member of Congress. The speech or debate clause in the Constitution gives lawmakers certain protections against having things they say or do during their official duties used against them in criminal or civil actions. Other lawmakers have tried to use the clause when facing charges, almost always without success. And it certainly did not apply to our case against Collins, because his insider trading was entirely unrelated to his congressional duties. But his lawyers invoked it in a filing with the court, claiming we swept up protected materials during our investigation. It could have delayed the matter for some time. He likely had the right to appeal all the way to the Supreme Court before we could try him. Damian Williams was the lead prosecutor on the Collins case. I met him for the first time when I became U.S. Attorney. He is brilliant, highly analytical, and by nature a consensus builder. During the Collins case, I elevated him to co-chief of the securities unit. Scott Hartman, Max Nicholas, and Bob Allen were also on the team and did a great job. They were deftly supervised by the chiefs Telemachus excuse me, quote Tim Kasulis and Jason Coley. With the Collins case potentially delayed by his lawyers, tactical invocation of congressional privilege, our team made a pivotal decision suggested by Damien. They informed the judge that we would like to proceed to trial with the other defendants. This would force Collins to make a choice: confront the evidence against him in court, or bide his time on the sidelines while his son faced the music alone for a crime initiated by his father. At the end of the day, the congressman could not stand to see his son face trial for something that was largely his fault, and for his son to be convicted while he was still avoiding his day in court. Collins dropped his appeal, pleaded guilty late in 2019, and resigned from Congress. Yeah, that's the way to do him. It says, his statement to the court was quite abject. Quote, I regret these actions beyond anything, unquote. Collins, who was 69 years old, told the judge, Vernon S. Broderick. At his sentencing, he said, quote, people feel sorry for me. They shouldn't. I did what I did, and I violated my core values. Love of money will make you do that. Love of country will prevent you from doing it if you, and I'm going to tell you something. Love of country comes from love of God. You see, that's a moral issue. Patriotism is a moral issue. All high morals are dictated by God. Do you understand? To tell someone, treat other people like you want to be treated, that is a moral issue. That comes from the Word of God. Honor your father and your mother. That's moral. If a man will honor his mother and his father, he will also generally, not always, but generally, he will honor his country. And that's how schools like, Harvard and Yale and you have some Morehouse, some of them black prestigious colleges. Their graduates, or their alumni, they conduct themselves after they were taught by these schools. They reverence those schools. They contribute to that school, and they do things for that school. That's a patriotic thing. That's a moral thing. You see. But he gave away his morality for love of money. Do you understand? So he said, I regret these actions beyond anything. Collins, it was in quotes, now end quote. He said, Collins, who was 69 years old, told the judge, Vernon S. Broderick. That's what he told the judge. And at his sentencing, he said, quote, people feel sorry for me. They shouldn't. I did what I did, and I violated my core values. What I've done has marked me for life. I stand here today as a disgraced former member of Congress that will have the asterisk by my name, unquote. Judge Broderick sentenced him to 26 months in federal prison and levied a fine of $200,000 against him. Stephen Bannon was indicted 2 months after I left the job, following an investigation that began when I was the U.S. Attorney. Barr knew about it because we filed what is called an urgent report, which is a DOJ requirement for all matters likely to generate wide public interest. The Bannon case was without doubt another demerit for me. Like Cohen, Bannon had been a Trump insider. As the chief executive of Trump's 2016 campaign, and then for a time the chief White House strategist, Bannon was a driving force behind one of the animating features of both the campaign and Trump's presidency. The effort to stop immigrants from crossing into the United States from Mexico. After leaving the White House, he participated in one of the most cynical criminal schemes I encountered in my time atop of the Southern District of New York. Taking advantage of Trump supporters who fervently believed in the cause of building a wall at the southern border, passions that he himself helped inflame, Bannon and 3 other men raised $25 million from donors in an online fundraising campaign to fund part of it privately. Bannon and other leaders of the, quote, "We Build the Wall" campaign, as alleged in the indictment, told donors they were an entirely volunteer organization and pledged that all the money would go toward construction. Hundreds of thousands of Americans gave money. You remember what, let me leave that for a minute. You remember what Howard Stern said about Donald Trump? He said that the people that love Donald the most are the people that Donald hates the most. Do you suppose Steve Bannon would con his mama out of her money, or con his brothers and sisters out of their money? You don't con people out of their money that you care something about. You con suckers out of their a sucker. Who you think coined that phrase? A sucker is born every minute. That is the statement of a con artist or a grifter. A sucker is born every minute. You know, people that get sucked into things in the first place, the thing they asking to be done ain't even no problem. That's the first place. It don't need no wall down south. Yeah, that's the first thing. And the second thing is they so filled with hate that whatever he do to them, he don't care. Because them people don't care nothing about nobody. They'll turn on you if you start telling them that it's wrong to do what they want to do. So he don't care about them. So anyway, it says hundreds of thousands of Americans gave money. Bannon allegedly then created another nonprofit, a shell company, to redirect some of the contributions to himself and the other organizers. Brian Colfage, a U.S. Air Force veteran of the Iraq War and a triple amputee, Timothy Shea, Timothy Shea, who according to the New York Times, once marketed an energy drink as containing, quote, liberal tears, containing liberal tears, and Andrew Badolato, whose history included a string of failed businesses and unpaid tax bills. The crooks all got together and ran a game on people. This is Donald Trump's buddies. It says Colfage used at least $350,000 of the funds raised by We Build the Wall on home renovations. This is something. Huh? On home renovations, boat payments, an SUV, a golf cart, jewelry, cosmetic surgery, tax payments, and credit card debt. He pleaded guilty in 2022. Bannon, as alleged, spent hundreds of thousands of We Build the Wall funds on personal expenses. Maybe it looked different to Barr, but we did not go out of our way to target Trump insiders. The Southern District would never do that. I would never do that. The Bannon case came to us through a suspicious activity report. The Bannon case came to us through a, quote, suspicious activity report, or SAR, suspicious activity report. They just call it SAR, filed by a bank about the charity. Nick Ross, one of our assistant U.S. attorneys, was surfing suspicious reports and spotted it. He brought it to Capone and Discant, and we opened an investigation. Bannon cast himself as a fierce American nationalist and a man of the people. He rarely wore business clothes, despite the high positions. He rarely wore business clothes despite the high positions he occupied, preferring army-style jackets and the layered look of someone setting off on a hike in the wilderness. His long gray hair fell down to his shoulders, and he usually had a scruffy 2 or 3 day beard. He was arrested on August 20th, 2020, when federal agents boarded a $35 million yacht in Long Island Sound that belonged to a friend of his, the Chinese billionaire Guo Wengi. Who was a fugitive from China, sought by Beijing authorities on corruption allegations. In the United States, 3 media companies tied to Guo paid $539 million to settle civil charges brought by the Securities and Exchange Commission connected to funds he raised from investors in his companies. The name of the yacht was the Lady May. Bannon was arrested at 7:15 a.m. as he sat on the deck reading a book. After being arraigned in New York on charges that included conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering, he was released on $5 million on a $5 million bail, which he secured with $1.75 million in personal assets. I watched a video clip of him walking out of the courthouse. He stopped at a gaggle of cameras and reporters and gave a brief comment. Quote, this entire fiasco is to stop people who want to build the wall, unquote, he said. He was smiling, or perhaps smirking. He seemed relaxed. He didn't look like a man who was overly concerned with facing a trial and possible prison time. A president can pardon whomever he wants. It is an unlimited, essentially unreviewable power. But there is a long established process through which a person, normally one who has already been convicted, served time and worked to rehabilitate him or herself, has their case reviewed by a pardon attorney in the Department of Justice. The U.S. attorney in the district where the person was tried has an opportunity to weigh in. Trump was not the first president to ignore the process, but it is fair to say he was hyper aggressive in issuing pardons after he lost the 2020 presidential election. He did not appear to put many of the pardons through any discernible process, and the pattern of them certainly fit into the friends and enemies paradigm. A professor at Harvard Law School, Jack Goldsmith, examined Trump's pardons and found that 88% went to people whom he knew personally or who had furthered his political ambitions. 3 days before Christmas 2020, he pardoned 2 former Republican congressmen who had been convicted and sentenced to prison on corruption charges, Duncan Hunter of California and Chris Collins, and commuted the prison term of a third, Steve Stockman of Texas. Collins was the first member of Congress to endorse Trump during the 2016 primary campaign. After the pardon, he said of Trump, quote, he is one of the most loyal people there has ever been, unquote. A White House statement said Collins had been pardoned at the request of many members of Congress. Collins had spent all of 10 weeks at a minimum security federal prison in Pensacola, Florida. He told the Buffalo News that he had formed deep bonds there with as many as 10 inmates who would now be his lifelong friends. He complained about prison guards who were unduly harsh. Quote, a judge sends you to prison as punishment. He doesn't send you to be further punished by guards, and said, unquote, and said he came away from his short stay with many ideas for prison reform. Trump pardoned Steve Bannon on January 20th, 2021, just hours before he was to leave office. Notably, Trump did not pardon Bannon's co-defendants, nor did he pardon Collins' son or his son's future father-in-law. A statement from the White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, stressed Bannon's value as a political operative. President Trump granted a full pardon to Stephen Bannon, unquote. It said, quote, prosecutors pursued Mr. Bannon with charges related to fraud stemming from his involvement in a political project. Mr. Bannon has been an important leader in the conservative movement and is known for his political acumen, unquote. It is an outrage that someone's political beliefs or their value as a political operative would figure into a pardon decision. But, as I said, the Constitution grants extreme powers to a president on pardons, and Trump used them. Okay, that was chapter 9. We'll take up chapter 10. If it pleases Allah, we'll take up chapter 10 Wednesday. Now, let's get into the scriptures. Let's see. But first, I want to go into something from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Let's see.
One 22 verse. Assalamu alaikum. You may be seated. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, all holy praises due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the most merciful, the master of the day of judgment, in which we now live. Thee do we serve, thee do we beseech for thine help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray after they hast but thine teachings. Amen. My dear beloved brothers and sisters, I'm very happy to see you out this afternoon, many with beautiful smiling faces. And I think every believer of Islam that's on the face of the earth, whether they're in America or elsewhere, should be happy to see the day and time that you and I are witnessing here in North America. Because there live prophets, wise men in the past, they only read of it, that it was to come. But if they could have lived to see just half a day that you are looking at today and living in, they would have been happy. We are living in the change of worlds. Old world going out, and the new world is coming in. This is something that we all should be happy and thankful to Allah, glorify His name, for allowing us to live, to bear witness of the change of world.
You must understand how worlds come in and how they go out. So I think I need to say a few words on that. The world, most people see the world as these stuff that you see around you. No, that's the fruit of the world. The world is in your brain. You see people losing their minds because it's time for this world to end. You see me standing up talking to the whole world on the World Wide Web. That's what www means on there. So we don't you tell us, I know, you know what it means. But I'm showing you that I know what it means too. And so I'm talking to the whole world on the World Wide Web, and can't nobody talk back. That's because the knowledge that's in me is greater than the knowledge that's in you. And so all of your kingdoms, whether you talk about mathematics, whether you talk about science, the different sciences or whatnot, all of those kingdoms now belong to me. If you don't use that knowledge that you have, if you're not interested in using it to help me, you soon not going to have no mind. Now, I know you don't believe me. That's okay. You ain't got to believe me. But I did warn you. Huh? You do see that people, Alzheimer's is not just hitting no certain age group. Anybody can get that. I didn't hear you. Okay. Now you keep thinking that can't nobody put a stop to you. You already at your end. I am the beginning and the end. So you can, this is a new world that I'm bringing in. A new world begins with new thoughts. You notice I done start. The more you listen to me, your thoughts are becoming new. You thinking thoughts that you never had before I start teaching. When you hear God now, you think grantor of dominion. It ain't about looking up in the sky somewhere. It's about looking at somebody who have greater knowledge than you. That's the one you go to grant you dominion over something that's troubling you. I didn't hear you. And what do they say when you trouble and they say, oh, no problem. I mean, let me show you. And they give you dominion and say, thank you. Huh? So this is it. It's time to put an end to all falsehood. Now you can be thankful for my presence, or you can be unthankful. It don't make no difference to me. Because I'm here whether you like it or not. I'm at your disposal for your salvation. Whether you are thankful or unthankful, you're not going to have nobody to blame for your loss of your soul but yourself. You don't believe in me? Well, I don't believe in you. You got no teaching that can offer salvation to me. I'm the one with the salvation. If you're too stupid to accept what I'm offering, well, okay.
It is a wonderful thing to bear witness of and to see your world, the new world of Islam coming in. Not the old world of Islam, but a new world of Islam.
That's why I tell all of you all who claim to be Muslims, you can't teach me with the old world of Islam's way of teaching. That's not Islam. Not now. Islam of Muhammad of 1400 years ago served that time. When the jinn that God made told to go and subdue the earth, then violence was the order of the day, and you had to pick up a sword to defend yourself. Do you understand? But that day gone. No more going out talking about you subduing somebody. There's no compulsion in religion. When you subdue someone, you force your way on. That has been the way of the world for the past 6,000 years. That time for that is up. No more of that. And all of you who want to continue that, you will not continue because you can't do what you can't think. And when we strip you of that mind that you thought you took for granted that it's just gonna be there. No, it ain't gonna just be there. You done forgot your mind is energy. All matter obeys the Creator. Tell you what, you look at the brain when you thinking, and tell them to put them electrodes on you and see all the energy that your brain is producing while you're thinking. That's energy, man. Now put it on a dead body. Life requires those things. It requires energy. And ain't no energy going on up there no more. And so we say he's dead. It's just dead as a battery. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone for now. Let's listen to the messenger some more.
Behold, I make all things new. This is what the Scripture prophesied of the God that for the first time that you witness seeing him in person.
See? He's telling you about me now. Am I not making all things new? The things that you thought you understood, when you come in here, you notice, look what I told you about grass. You didn't know grass was an acronym. When if you think about it, you got to know that. Why name it grass? What is that? Growth, readily available, suitable for sustenance. GRASS. I didn't hate it. And all flesh is grass. But vegetation. I didn't hear you. I mean, that's what even when you eat your steak or your fish or whatever, you still eating grass. Just in another form. So anyway, the Scripture tell you that all flesh is grass. So,
All in the past, except with Moses, the God was not seen in person because it would bring about a change. Therefore, the change was not to come in those days. That would be a permanent change. So therefore, you and I are lucky to be living here today to see the God that will set up the kingdom of Islam to live forever without any future interference. And there will be an enemy that will be openly attacking Islam, the religion of truth, righteous, anymore. There is no future prophesy with. This is the end of opposition and attacks against the righteous and the righteous religion Islam.
if he was lying, you ought to be able to come in here and attack Islam right now. Come in here and attack Islam. Let me hear your attack. I'm the only teacher of Islam. Now, come in here, because if you can form an attack against Islam while I'm standing up here teaching, then that would prove that I'm not the Son of Man, and that I'm not the one that the Scripture says. That ought to, and you make yourself $50,000. Let me see what your attack against Islam look like. Come on, form an argument against anything I'm teaching. Let me hear it. What did he say? This is the end of oppositions and attack against the righteous and their righteous religion, Islam. Yeah. Have I brought an end to it? Thank you. Now, let me.
Anymore. There is no future prophesy with. This is the end of opposition and attacks against the righteous and their righteous religion, Islam. Islam has a beautiful name corresponding with the principles and beliefs in Islam. It is very beautiful. And doing away with so many gods that have cropped up in our midst and before our face since the making of Yaqub's world. Yaqub is the God, is the name of the God, pardon me, that made the white race. And he made them for the purpose to try and destroy Islam. But he missed. And I think that should be a warning forever. That a man worked hard for 6,000 years to try to destroy the religion of Allah. But missed. We are still here.
Just a moment.
Without mistake, I love to say Allah. 122, it reads that a man worked hard for 6,000 years to try to destroy the religion of Allah, but missed. We are still here. Referring to the fifth surah of the Holy Quran, chapter 122, it reads something like this in English. God will say, Allah will say, I'd rather call him Allah than you call God. God is an English name for the supreme being. They don't always mean the same. and to say God, referring to the supreme being, we have too many gods. We would like to give credit only to one God. So I do not like to say God. It's understood in the Christian world. God means God Almighty, God All-Wise, but they use God so much and so many places where that God name is absolutely disgraced and insulted. So we rather use Allah. You'll take the Holy Quran, translated by Yusuf Ali. He uses God most times. That is to make the English readers know who he's talking about. Now take the Pakistani Muslim, who also translates the Holy Quran. This man name also is Ali. So you must remember that the both means good. But being a Muslim myself, and I want Allah to have all the credit that we can give it without mistake. I love to say Allah. I love to read the Holy Quran saying Allah, teaching me Allah. Allah is a great name for the divine supreme being because it covers everything. It means all. Everywhere that God is making, He is there. He's all in all. I like that name. He says here in 1:22, you better get out of it. Verse of the 5th chapter of the Holy Quran. They use the word surah, but since we are not so up to date with the Arab language, we say that word which we can understand and all the rest. God will say, this is a day on which the truthful will come from their truth. This is a day on which the truthful will profit from his truth. Being truthful in the midst of falsehood and get no credit for being truthful, then God will have to defend your truth and yourself too. Because you're in the midst of people who love untruth and not truth. But there is a day, he says here, in the 5th surah of the Holy Quran, that will come when the truthful's truth will benefit the truthful. If we have served God all our life, and then a day comes for checking out with those who are against our way of belief. Well then, if the author of truth, of which we believe in, will not defend us, then we are lost forever, and the author of weakness and liars will prosper. It'd be better, or had been better, that we believed in lies, if the liar is going to triumph over the truth. We have been told all of our life that a judgment would come, and that God will judge both truthful and untruthful. We find in the Holy Quran where that the author of other than the truth would try to deny his misleading us, and that he will declare himself a believer in what Allah has brought to us, like the crazy Pharaoh. He waited until he was near drowned to death before he would admit Allah was the greatest. That didn't help him much. He had to drown just the same. But to show you that Allah is all merciful, he gave him a break by him just saying he was the greatest. Because Pharaoh had tried to make himself the greatest. But when he had no master over the water that was taking his life from him, he said, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, you the greatest, you the greatest. Allah gave him credit for that, for admitting that he was the greatest. There's a many pharaohs who would like to wait till they see the showdown. Then they will admit to you and me that Allah is the greatest. This wait's just right around the corner, not very far. I want to talk with you for a few minutes. The will of God, the will of Allah. This is what I would like to talk with you on this afternoon for just a while. The will of Allah. Let thy will be done. We want always that God do his will. But we are not always prepared to receive his will. While we wait for his will to be done, we are doing our will. This is not so good. Thy will be done. We must today accept the will of Allah, and not our will, nor the will of other than Allah. To you who have never heard this thing applied to the divine supreme being, it means that Allah is the greatest of all, an all-knowing one, all-wise one, like you used to give to the God. Just so that God knows it, but you have too many gods in your religion. We don't know what God you're meeting. You curse with the name of God. And you always disrespected the honor that due that name if you're referring to the supreme being. We said the supreme being, making God a being and not something of the sort in which you declare him to be. I want you to get this in your mind. We are not worshiping something spooky, some kind of formless spirit up in this.
I think I need to go into a little more depth on that, because you've heard me stand up here and tell you that I am the supreme being. If another being can be made my equal, then I am not the supreme being. I could teach you everything. You could go in the Bible, in the Holy Quran, and learn it word for word, and you will never be my equal. I can't even teach you to be my equal. You know why? Because the mind within me is it is from everlasting. The root, remember, said the root of David? It is a living, ever expanding mind. You can't make that. Do you understand? You can make a PhD. You can make equals in that. I don't have no equal. So, you see people try to come in here like the little foolish man tried to come in here and try to turn Islam into an acronym. And I told them, I don't want to hear that. No bringing your foolishness in. They hear me, they see me doing something, and they think they can go and do the same. Do you understand? That's someone who, as the book said, they are polytheists. They think that they can make themselves into the equal of Allah when you make a fool of yourself. So, this is this class here is for submitting ones. This is a Muslim class. Do you understand? I'm here to build a new world, to bring in a new world. And it starts with bringing in a new mind, a new way of thinking into those who submit to my guidance, not those who think they can make themselves my equal. Boy, by now, you should have learned that you can never make yourself my equal. But anyway, so the messenger was telling you that the supreme being is the one that he was here to tell you. As he said, the prophets said, thus saith the supreme being, thus saith the Lord. He said, but I say, here is the Lord. Do you understand? So.
And we have never seen nothing up there but sky and stars, planets. That's all we can see up there. We don't see no God walking in the midst of them, telling us on earth that I am the God up here and I am the God down there. We don't hear that. And the scientists have made glasses so far reaching into space that they can tell what's on the surface of planets millions of miles away. So what should we be worshiping when that which we don't know nothing about? It's just the lie that the devil told us, that God was not man. Well, he knows that, but he didn't want you to worship Allah. Allah is a man. He have even gotten some of the Orthodox Muslims believe in such lie, that Allah is not a man. The Holy One keeps you of them, saying that the messenger believes in a man. But I don't like to challenge you in no such argument when I know you don't know what you're talking about. Thank you. That is why we have a day of judgment to test out all of these things that people claim to believe in. Allah says in His Holy Quran that on the judgment day, if you bring a God up besides myself, you will not be able in words to say to win. There is no God, he said, with me I am Allah, the best knower. I am Allah. Think over that.
I mean, look at me good.
That's what the Bible teaches you. If the Bible says that all things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knows who the Son is but the Father, neither anyone the Father but the Son, and he to whom the Son will reveal him. Well, then the Son is the best knower. I didn't hear you. I, Allah, am the best knower. I, the Spirit of Truth, am the best knower. I, the Mahdi, am the best knower. Now, So what do you think? How many of y'all think that I'm telling other than the truth? Do you think I'm committing blasphemy? Come in here and tell me what I'm blaspheming about. See, it's time to put an end to people. I tell you what's blasphemy. It's when you say of Allah what is not true. That's blasphemy. For instance, when you say that Allah gave you a religion called Scientology, that's a lie. When you say that Allah gave you a religion called Christianity, that's a lie. Or Judaism, or any of these religions that you have. None of your religions are worth anything. The scriptures that you have, they are worth everything. But the religions that you have made up after you got drunk off of the wine that Jesus left here and the prophets left here, they turned water into wine. And believe me, there's a whole lot of drunks out there. I didn't hear you. Yeah, a lot of winos out here. Well, that's what a parable is. It's turning water into wine. and when you drink it and you don't know the real meaning of it, it gets you drunk. And you got people walking around here staggering drunk. Huh? Yeah.
I'm not a spook, but I am a law. And I stayed with him, and he taught me for 3 years, 4 months, night and day. If you think you know a lot better than me, come get up here and let me question you.
You see how the messenger he gave me everything I needed. When people think they know something better than me, I tell, come on in there and let me question you. Then when you want to ask them a question, they run away from you.
If we are not going to have a full knowledge of God on the judgment day, when will we have a full knowledge?
That's how you know you're in the judgment day. You're being taught the full knowledge of God. I didn't hear you. Why you think the white man done shut his mouth after giving you all them white folk pictures? Put them pictures up there. Look at all them pictures of Jesus, he said. How come he ain't coming in here defending what he did? He's sitting up there laughing now himself. The jig is up, man. There's no more faking. You didn't even have sense enough to look at that picture and say, hey, that man ain't got no hair look like no lamb's wool. It look like goat hair. Boy, he just told us anything. He just gave us fried ice cream. So let me tell you something. I'm not going to hold you no great long time tonight. But I want you to know that I'm not here to send peace on this world. You notice when I open up, I don't just open up with the May Allah, Assalamu Alaikum. I don't just open up with that. I'm very particular about who I wish peace to. Do you understand? As it's written in over here in the book of Matthew, around the, let's see here. I don't want you to think that I'm changing scriptures. This is the 10th chapter of Matthew. And excuse me. The 10th chapter of Matthew and the 34th verse. It says, oh, and by the way, let's start at the 32nd verse. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men. That means whosoever shall let people know that they following me. Do you understand? Him will I also confess before my Father which is in heaven. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. Now, let me see here. You talk about Jesus and you talk about Peter and all of them like they something. What did Peter do when that woman pointed out and said, yeah, you was with him. You was with Jesus. I know not the man. You remember that? Yeah, I didn't hear you. What did Jesus say he was going to do to people who denied him? See, even if you understood that, you would know something ain't right here. Do you understand? St. Peter. Where you get that from? You see my point? Okay. But now, it's just like my followers. I tell them, don't you ever come up to me and think I don't know when you trying to get around calling me son of man in front of somebody. You know, I used to wouldn't say that. I used to just smile to myself and come at me. This is my leading teacher. This is Mr. So-and-so. I said, okay, how you doing? So I got tired of him. So I told him, don't do that no more. Now, if you ashamed to say that I'm the Son of Man, then why are you following me? Why are you with me? So, but it says, but whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. Don't think that I came here. I think not that I came, that I am come to send peace on earth. Now, think over that. The scriptures say send peace on our Lord's messenger. It said nothing about send peace on earth. I didn't hear you. It says, I came not to send peace, but a spoken word, a sword. Sword is spoken word. That's what that means. Ain't this the words that Jesus spoke when he was here? When you look at writing on paper, you know they call it dictation, don't they? Those are spoken words, right? That's what that marks on that paper represent. It represents spoken words. And Jesus came to send those spoken words. This is what testaments are. You know, it was the Bible and the Holy Quran is the will and testament of the messengers of God. And it wasn't to go into effect until after their death, because they came to foretell what would take place at a future time. That's what a will and testament is. It's something that will take place after the death of the testator. Do you understand? And you notice, as the will and testament, after the one who made it out passes away, it ain't no certain date that it had to be read. Of that date, don't nobody know but the testator. I didn't hear you. I mean, but the not the testator, but the executor, the executor. He gathers everything up. He gets a list of the people, and he calls them. He brings them together. He gathers everybody in the will together. You know, because he can't begin to execute the will without diligently looking for everybody that's involved. Is that right? That's why the internet had to come into play. See, I had to be able to gather the people. Do you understand? Boy, this internet is something. Yeah. So I had to be able to gather the people. And so the messenger said that mechanical instrument is the voice that's going to come through that mechanical instrument is the one I warned you about. You remember he told you that? Okay. The revelator, he said, And he gathered them all together in a place in the Hebrew tongue called Armageddon. Armageddon is a word which means the arm is the word. Megiddo is the place. The word and the place to find it. You see? Megiddo is the place of God. Arm is God. Arm, word. The word is God. Do you understand? Okay, where's the place where you find the word of God? You find it in the Holy Scriptures. So the Holy Scriptures had to be published to all nations so that I could gather them together into the place where the word is and where you can find them bearing me witness. Do you understand? Okay, so now you just sit there. I came not to send peace on earth, for I came but a sword. For I am come to set a man at disagreement, at variance. Variance is disagreement against his father, against the ways of his father, and the daughter against the ways of her mother, and the daughter-in-law against the ways of her mother-in-law. And a man's foes, a man's enemies, the people who fight against him, shall be they of his own household. You notice, it's the people in your own immediate households, your families, that when you decided to follow me, they fell out with you. I didn't hear you. Especially when they want you to do something, and I say, I don't want that done. And then they go to telling you, well, why he got to be telling you what to do? But if they tell you what to do, they don't say why they got to be telling you what to do. Do you understand? But anyway, it says, a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it. Die not. Unless what? When you found life, you lost another life. Do you understand? So it says, he that receiveth you, receiveth me. Son of man, the house of Israel won't hearken unto you because they won't hearken unto me. But whosoever hearkens unto you, they hearken unto me. Do you understand? Yeah. If you receive in me, it's because you receive Jesus. But Jesus' words bear me witness. Now, let's go over here to the Holy Quran. Idolaters' service of the sacred house. This is the 9th chapter of the Holy Quran, and it's the 17th verse, section 3. It says, the idolaters, people who worship other than the truth. They speak things that are other than what Allah has spoken. Do you understand? They speak other than Allah. They speak other than the truth. And they believe in other than the truth. They manufacture their own religious beliefs and practices. You understand? So it says, the idolaters have no right to maintain the mosques of Allah. And where's the sacred mosque of Allah? The sacred mosque of Allah is the truth. And wherever you are, turn your faces towards the sacred mosque of Allah. And it is the truth from thy Lord. All right. The idolaters have no right to maintain the mosque of Allah. No, they ain't got no right to it. Because they didn't hide it in their heart. So how's it going to come out their mouth when it ain't in their mind? The truth can't come out your mouth if it ain't in your mind. And so it says, the idolaters have no right to maintain the mosque of Allah while bearing witness to disbelief against themselves. These it is whose works are vain. Whatever they do it to be seen. And in the fire will they abide. The wickedness burneth as the fire. And in wickedness, they live their life. And they become fuel for wickedness. And when you listen to them, they just make you fuel for it too. Do you understand? To practice things that may seem right to you, but it's the ways of death. There's a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And so it says, only he can maintain the mosques of Allah who believes in Allah and the Sabbath day, the last day, and keeps up prayer and pays the poor rate and fears none but Allah. So these it is who may be of the guided ones. When he, the Spirit of truth, he will what? You check out my followers. My followers are scared not to obey me. That's why I can guide them. They scared not to obey me. So it says, do you hold the giving of drink to the pilgrims and the maintenance of the sacred mosque equal to the service of one who believes in Allah and the last day and strives hard in Allah's way? They are not equal in the sight of Allah, and Allah guides not the iniquitous people. Those who believed and fled their homes and strove hard in Allah's way with their wealth and their lives are much higher in rank with Allah. And it is these that shall triumph in the end. Their Lord gives them good news of mercy and pleasure from himself, and gardens wherein lasting blessings will be theirs, abiding therein forever. Surely Allah has a mighty reward with him. I come quickly, and my reward is with me. O you who believe, take not your fathers and your brothers for friends, if they love disbelief above faith. And whoever of you takes them for friends, such are the wrongdoers. Say, this is what Allah tell me to say. That's what the messenger was telling you, that the Holy Quran is not a book of prophecy. The brethren and your wives and your kinfolk and the wealth you have acquired and trade whose dullness you fear and dwellings you love are dearer to you than Allah and his messenger, and striving in his way, then you wait till Allah brings his command to pass. And Allah guides not the transgressing people. That's pretty clear. So be careful. I told you, don't let nothing and nobody come between me and you. Remember I told you that? I didn't let nothing and nobody come between me and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's why I'm still able to stand. And everybody else that I saw around me tripping was tripping and seemingly letting go of the teachings. I didn't let it go. The scripture says, hold that fast which thou hast, lest any man take thy crown. You see? No, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad crowned me with light of understanding. And I held fast to what he crowned me with. Even if I didn't understand it, I held on to it. And by holding on to it, I did just what he said I was going to do. He said, I know you will not agree with me, meaning right now, because you're a child. But you will grow to agree with me. Yes, I have grown to agree with you. That's why, as he, as you study his teachings, you discover a great secret that makes you feel better about what happened when he wasn't here no more and everything seemingly fell apart. You discover that not only did he know it was going to fall apart, he told you that it was going to go down to nothing, almost nothing. But it will be rebuilt, because his mission was not to raise up a nation, but his mission was to raise up the Lord himself, who would raise up the nation. Do you understand? And that means you got a second chance now. You see? For I am the master of the day of judgment. I am the teacher of the day of judgment. The day of requital. And it does not just call me the master, it says the most merciful master of the day of requital. You see, it's easy to show mercy to people when you've needed mercy yourself. So, I want all of you to remember that Allah don't hold you responsible for what I do. The one thing he holds you responsible for is obedience to me. Do you understand? And he says, we sent no messenger, but that he should be obeyed. That's the question that's going to be asked to Iblis. Why did you not obey when I commanded you? You better come up with something talking about, rather than talking about I'm better than him. In what way are you, any of y'all better than me? Come on, tell me, in what way are you better than me? I'm talking to you two white people. All because I learned something from you. But you always try to make it look like we ain't teach you nothing, when everything you got, even your behind, came from us. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of you walking around here acting like you are somebody's father when you ain't nothing. All of you are our children. And your dishonor of us from now on gonna cost you every time you do it. Now, so the messenger, he said this. He said, I alone, Allah has raised up to teach a dead man. Who is the dead man that he was raised up to teach? Well, there's a hint to it when it says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Why did Elijah have to come first? Because Elijah is the one that have to find the Lord and raise him from the dead. And look what it says in Revelation. I am he that liveth and was dead. But Elijah came and raised me. And how did he do it? He created a school. He made a woman. Remember W.D. Muhammad told him that man means mind? You remember that? So, womb man means womb of mind. What is the womb of a mind? It's a school. Is that right? So the messenger said, he said that, speaking of the God. Now remember now, he told you he was the second self of God Almighty. He said he wanted a different human being than himself. So he made a woman by studying himself. He made a woman, secondly, so that this would solve his problem of a search for another man. You think you put up a magnet school. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad put up a magnet school that drew black men to him. And he knew sooner or later there was one black man out there that needed to hear the knowledge of himself. That's why the student enrollment was necessary. Remember, he said the Holy Quran is a message directed to a student under the guidance of Allah. And the first thing that the black man got, everybody that came into the nation, that whether they was sister or brother, wrote a letter, and if that letter was accepted, saying that they believed, and if it was accepted, they were given an X, and the student enrollment. Why an X? Because that's what the woman carries. The woman carries the X chromosome. And then the man fertilizes. He sends life germs up into the womb, and those life germs swim around in the womb looking for an egg to fertilize. Do you understand? And so the messenger, he every week, Muhammad Speaks came out. And as I read the Muhammad Speaks, my mind was being fertilized. Do you understand? And the student enrollment, it was just that. I was the student that he was waiting on. And it was called the student enrollment. And the first question and answer was, who is the original man? And then the answer was, the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Who is this colored man? The colored man is the Caucasian white man, or Yakub's grafted devil, the skunk of the planet Earth. What is the population of the original nation in the wilderness of North America and all over the planet Earth? The population of the original nation in the wilderness of North America is 17 million. With the 2 million Indians makes it 19 million. All over the earth is 4,400,000,000. What is the population of the colored people in the wilderness of North America? The population of colored people in the wilderness of North America is 103 million. All over the planet Earth is 400 million. What is the birth record of the said nation of Islam? The said nation of Islam ain't got no birth record. It has no beginning nor end. Well, it's going to have one now. Why? Because the Lord himself is the beginning and the end, the author and the finisher of the faith. And we look for a city whose maker and builder is God. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you, ain't nobody coming behind me but the maker and builder, but God himself. That's what he told him. And now I'm here. And you don't like it. And I don't care. And you like it or not, I'm here. Now, any questions? Yeah, he he just taught me things that I should know. Since I am the Lord, what is the square mileage of the earth? How much is the land? How much is the water? The earth is 196,940,000 square miles. The land is 57,255,000 square miles. The water is 139,685,000 square miles. He taught me these things. You see, he taught it to everybody. But he knew the effect that it would have on me. That didn't make me righteous by knowing that. All that did was help me to understand that the earth belonged to me. I ought to know the size of it and everything. Good gracious. So everything is mine, including the people. So, and I try to take care of what's mine. So I'm not here to try to hurt nobody. I want to help everybody. Because it's a big universe out there, and I want us to get out there in it and rule it. So we can't do that fighting and squabbling amongst ourselves. We got to come to some kind of a arrangement. All right? Now, who do you know of that you think is more qualified to be the head of human beings other than me? Point them out. And then I'll talk to them. And I'll talk to them in front of you. And the first thing I need to know is that they care about human beings. I have a history of showing that I care about people. And it's not something that I have to force myself to do. That's just the way I am. I do care about people. Anyway, let's go on. We call it night right there. I think be thankful if Allah let you follow me. Because every branch in me that beareth not fruit, my Father taketh it away. Yeah. If you're not producing truly upright and good deeds and just faking, soon Allah gonna pluck you away from here. You ain't gonna be with me. But if you sincere, know this: it ain't no power on earth can move you away from me. Allah not gonna let it. Nothing gonna happen to you that you can't handle. Nothing happens to me that I can't handle. Allah have fixed it that way because He knows my heart. My heart is with Him, and therefore I'm His friend. And if your heart is with me, then Allah is with you, and you are our friend. And Allah takes care of His friends, because we do whatsoever He commands us, and we do it without question. Okay. So I'm gonna let y'all go since nobody talking to me. So may Allah bless us, keep us safe and in our right minds, those of us who love His word and are interested only in obedience to Him. May He bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds, and grant to each of us a peaceful life, peaceful night's rest and sleep, and a happy and peaceful morning's rise. May Allah's Salam Alaikum.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.